Thank you, Sue. And now Sarah is going to lead us in a prayer.
Lord, I pray that this prayer will be with us during this COVID time and after, when things will be settled. I pray for joy and a sense of humour, for confidence in God's love for you, and trust in His power to work things out for the best in all of our lives. Amen.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for praying, and thank you for all your contributions over these last few months and being so willing to volunteer for things. And that is a great prayer that we can pray not just today, but we can take with us into 2021, taking those words from Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose, and to be able to pray that we can put our trust in this God. So thank you, Sarah. And now we are going to hear from Ellen.
Hi everyone. I'd like to give a testimony about 2020. I think, as most of us, I had so many expectations when the year started. I had so many great plans about my life and how I wanted to conquer in all different aspects of my life. But as we all know, life sometimes has its own course. As the year started, I had just started 2 jobs. I was working 2 jobs part-time, having to take care of my 2 children and my family back home in Zimbabwe. Things were very difficult, emotionally, financially, and in so many ways that I can't even begin to explain. Of all the things, I had lost my inner peace. But I managed to pray and ask God to just give me a bit of my inner peace back, for me to be able to sleep peacefully at night and to do the best I can. And unfortunately, the pandemic then set off in the UK and we were put in lockdown. And there we were with my 2 children, having to work 2 jobs as usual from home. It was extremely difficult. But I thank God that by the time we got into lockdown, I had been praying and God had given me peace and I was able to sleep peacefully at night. And I was just able to do the work I was able to in the 2 jobs I was working. I thank God for those 2 jobs because throughout 2020, I had good bosses. Though I was working in 2 different places, God had sent me angels to be my bosses at work. There were people I could lift my phone anytime and just call them and tell them that today it's not happening. I'm not in the right mind frame. The children are not well, and they'll give me time to look after my children. But in all this, I never thought my life would hit an all-time low as it did in July. In July, as we were getting out of the first lockdown, the wave of the coronavirus then started to hit Africa. And it hit Zimbabwe, where I am from. Within a space of 2 weeks, I lost 4 loved family members. Within a space of 3 weeks, I then lost a 5th family member who was my older brother, who was so dear to me, one of the people I'm closest to and I was always closest to since childhood. His death rocked my soul. It rocked my life. He left a wife and 2 children, and I had more responsibilities. I had more finances to take up. I was just in limbo. I started working tirelessly 24/7, and I was now working 3 jobs. But I want to thank God because from nowhere, one of my friends called me and said to me, Ellen, be still. Be still and know He is God. And I just said, is she mad? What is she saying to me that be still when things are not well? I have so many responsibilities. As I put her phone down, my mother called me and she said to me, Ellen, be still. And I was like, oh, so God is now talking to me. He's spoken to me through 2 people. I then came down from my room. I saw a card posted through my door, and the card was from Keith and Sue, and it stated, be still and know that I am God. I shall be exalted amongst nations, and I shall be exalted on the earth. That is my biggest testimony for 2020. God spoke to me at a time when I was trying to take control of my life, and He told me to be still. I immediately quit the third job that I was working, and I was left with 2 jobs. In September, one of my employers, the University of Cambridge, then came to me and said they want to employ me full-time. And I resigned from my 2nd job, and I'm now working only 1 job. And it was only because of God's voice that I stopped acting in myself and let Him take over. I want to thank God for my family. I want to thank God for my friends. But above all, in 2020, I want to thank God for the Competent Baptist Church. You have all stood by me in this time that you've known that I've been going through a lot of turbulence in my life. And you have shown me the greatness of God. I want to thank Keith. I want to thank Sue. I want to thank you so much for that card because it was a life-changing moment for me in 2020. This is my testimony, and I now know that God is in control of my life. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ellen, for sharing. And many in the church will know what a difficult and a challenging year 2020 has been for you and for your family. And it is great to see how God has been faithful to you during this year. It's such a difficult time. Thank you also for sharing about how God spoke to you. Sometimes people come and ask me, well, how do I know when God is speaking? And sometimes it will be just through a friend phoning us up and telling us something. And sometimes we need a bit more of an encouragement to hear what God is saying. And thank you for that encouragement. And again, encourage people if you're prompted to put a card through someone's door or just to drop a verse in a text or something, you don't know how it's part of something bigger that is going on. And it's really encouraging to see how God can use us in such simple ways to bless others. And so thank you very much, Ellen, for sharing. And also thank you to Mika and to Iffy and Sarah and Pam and Mark for sharing too. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, oh, I wish I'd said something about this, that or the other. Well, it's not too late. There are other Sundays and it will be possible to include things on other Sundays if you do want to give a testimony at any point, not just when I request them. Then just get in touch and we can fit things in on most Sundays. It's great to hear from different people and different experiences of what God is doing and how God is speaking to us and how God is encouraging us. We're going to spend just a few minutes in prayer now before I hand back to Sue for our final song. But we're going to have just a quiet time for us to reflect on what we've heard, and maybe there are things that we want to respond to God in prayer. So let's pray, and then I'll hand over to Sue.